concept to casino, launching a successful slot studio.
Good morning everyone. I'm glad to see familiar faces here. And to kick off the second day of Sigma conference. My name is Serge, and it's an honor for me to drive the conversation with these awesome gentlemen. Let me introduce them. Let's start from Victor. Victor, Program Director of RNG Foundry. Olaf, Chief Product Officer of Wishbone Games. Andrew, co-founder of Gamixter, correct? Gamixter. And Vladimir, Managing Partner of Xanada Investments. So let's start with some basics, gentlemen. Your introduction and vision on essential first steps and priorities when launching a new slot studio. Olaf, let's start with you.
Yeah, actually, we can hear you really well. It would be nice if you could say it louder, because on this side, it's, we have some lagging.
Guys, let's start with introductions, and let's talk about first essential steps when launching a new slot studio.
All right. So for the first steps when launching a studio, for me, was the team. So we started Wishbone with, it was the CTO, the partner in the company, and me. And we had to find the rest of the team that will help us create the games. So that was the most important thing for us. We were lucky to have worked with a lot of people in the industry before, so we brought them with us, and they already knew each other as well, which helped a lot. It's the company culture was the key thing, and them wanting to come to work and creating a great team that then created great games.
Thank you, Olaf. Andrew?
Basically, the first and maybe the most crucial thing for us was just to understand, do we really want to do something by ourselves and to change something? And then it was maybe next thing was to understand what's right now challenging the markets and the other professional guys. And when we understand this, it was actually the first point to launching something new. Yeah, maybe this one.
Cool, thank you. Let's continue with questions for Victor and Vladimir. So, as VC, what are the top qualities you look for in a new studio investment?
I can start. So for us, it's experience. Like, Vlad is one of the people we have invested in and we believe in, and we work as an incubator. So we currently have 19 studio investments. We have done way over 20. And I think maybe one, the first idea they came in with worked. Everybody has had to pivot at some point and redo what they come in with and the concepts they came in with. So experience is really important to be able to do that pivot and actually understand the distribution network. So I would say, answering the guys' questions about what's the most important is distribution. If you don't have distribution as a studio, it's very, very hard to be successful.
Oh, thank you. Vladimir?
I can agree with you here about like experience, but I think we need to concretize a bit what is experience about. If we're talking about the early stage of slot studio, the first and the main guide of it is not distributed. The first and the main guide is the person who is creating the mathematics on this, not even the design, not even other stuff, because everybody knows here the iGaming industry. And the first person whom we are looking when we invest in is who's your like CPO, game designer, mathematician, because different companies created in different way. But the person who will create the main game balance is the main person. If we're talking about distribution, I think distribution, from the opinion of slot provider, is pretty easy. the most difficult is not distribution. The most difficult is to earn money from this distribution. And this is the key factor. If you have a real person who knows how to work with account management, how to work with the marketing, it's on a bit later stage, but with the marketing of these slot providers for the end customers, because if the end customers come to the casino and asking like, what the fuck, we don't have these games, we need them, all the operators will take your games. This is the other way of approaching to the customers at the end of the day. So for us, it's game designer / mathematician, and at the end of the day, it's the kind of head of key account management, the person who is understanding how to make the full not the distribution even, how to make the product valuable, how to receive normal positions, how to build relationship with the people. For us, it's the kind of key people.
Thank you, Vladimir. Victor, would you like to add something to distribution challenge?
Well, I guess it depends on where you work and what your distribution channel is. We work a lot on licensed markets, so there's a lot of competition, as you say. But that also means that it's automatic. And if the numbers are there, we get pushed. So yes, you have to create the quality, you have to create the right KPIs to perform. Where I think maybe if we work more, which I used to, in the gray market, it was more relationship-based, and it was more, who do you know within the casino teams? How do you work with the casino teams? So I think this is a little bit dependent on what type of distribution you have and adjusting to that.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question more for Olaf and Vladimir, I think. How do you guys balance creativity with market trends?
Sorry, creativity with what?
With market trends.
So
I mean, deciding between innovating concepts and proven game mechanics.
Well, so creativity versus market trends. It's pretty much a debate we have in the office every time we release anything, because we are very enthusiastic about what we do, and we like games. So we always want to make something new, something that hasn't been done before, and try it out in the market, but it's also very unlikely to work. So we have to balance it out with a very safe releases, and then squeeze in something new every now and then, just because we would go crazy if we didn't. It has to. We can't. We wouldn't be able to just do the same thing over and over, even though it most likely will make money, and we'll be fine just doing that. But we have to try something new and create something like a hit, even though it's most likely going to be a flop.
I think there's a buzzword in the industry already. We want to create the second aviator. And that's everyone is trying, from the slots provider, from creativity. They're trying to look it, to make it. But at the end of the day, like 80% of the money are coming from the usual slots. Yes, with some normal, with some interesting mechanics some way, with some different design. But at the end of the day, it's the same like match 3, match 5, like different lane slots, which are making the main portion of the money. And the creativity is a good idea inside any slots provider, and you must do it, because other way the market won't be developed. But the product itself is not even the half percentage of your success. This industry, I think the guys will support me, is a lot of way how you work with the full promotion of this, how you work with the education of this content. Because if you create the new content, the gambling audience is very, very lazy. It's one of the laziest audience in the whole world. They used to click like this for hours, and it's okay for them. They probably can put after spin on like 100 spins and wait that something will happen, because it's another way of entertainment, and you need to understand this. If you create the creative product, you need to educate your audience, or at least show to the audience how to play this game. And possibly it's a cool game, but if you won't educate, if you won't show, no chances. So when we're talking about the creativity and somebody coming with us, like we have a very creative, innovative, I don't know, AI-based blockchain and so on products, the first question, like, how are you going to promote it? How are you going to show it? How are you going to work with your end customers? Why do you think it will work with them? And if they can answer the question, yeah, there's the place of creativity. If they can't answer it in theory, no chance, guys. Please copy slots, continue moving with the slots, and it will work.
Basically, I agree with you. But anyway, we can say like creativity versus trends. It's always, there is some basic, some very well-known, I don't know, mechanics, approach, visuals, and so on. There is a next step, like trends, that actually add in something new and help you grow faster or test faster or maybe try different things. And on the top of this, you add in your creativity, changing some small details or some things. And with this combo of three things, you could do this. So for us, it's really tough to say creativity versus trends. It's always with and something new and something old.
There's another factor there as well, that the operators are usually looking for something new and creative instead of the same thing again. So you kind of have to balance it out against the players and the operators, which want to do different things.
Ask operators which are their money generator, and then just, it's the way of selling. They're looking for new something creative because thousands of other game providers came to them with the same product or just with a copy of this. Yes, they need creative, and as I told, like, you must create something new because this is the only way to develop this industry. And I really hope that slot providers, like game providers, like fast game providers, whatever the game company called it, but I hope that we'll continue looking for something new, some new ideas, some fresh ideas.
I think there's a time and place for innovation, and this might be not what everybody else is saying here, but like, there's a reason we have 26 big bass bonanzas. That's because that's what the players want. So as soon as you make money, you can take all the risk and all the innovation you want to, but get to a break-even point so you can afford it, so you don't have to lay off your whole team.
Thank you, guys. And if we're talking about market trends, we are talking about player data. So my next question is how analytics and player data integrated into your game development process?
So for us, we take the player data very on a case-by-case basis. So it's not a single process that we use for all the games. It's we take a game that we've released, we do a post-mortem, we take feedback from the team. It's usually the CTO and myself that do the biggest analysis on it. And we actually learn a lot more from the bad games than the good games. And why they haven't worked, what was not explained properly to the player and in the game. It's similar to how it was marketed, but on a lower level from the game itself. What happened there, why didn't it work? So it's not one process. Every game is different, so we do it on a game by game.
Thank you.
Actually, I just can agree with you. There is not only way how to use data for the games and so on. For example, for some of the games that we develop in, we use in viral loops with the TikToks and so on, just to understand how much time players look into the game process and give it us the higher reach or lower reach. Sometimes it's just to understand and to research, do your players spend enough time? But also we should admit that as a game provider, sometimes you don't have enough data to make full analysis of your game and how it's working with the customer directly. Sometimes you need to use some kind of, let's say, add-on and to gain some traffic onto your site, just to understand how the final customer will work with your product. So it's different. It's always different.
I think the main important question is how much this data you have. Because if like you're a small game provider and you're just taking data from 10 operators and you think that this has helped to create the game, it's not working. I know one product in the industry which is all the product features are fully based on machine learning. They're just analyzing thousands of different providers because they have access to this. And they analyze in thousands of them. They analyze in top features, top games, or how people are attracted by some new things, and based on this, machine learning making some proposition about product feature, and they just realize it, and it's work. It's one of the fastest growing provider I've seen ever. But if we have experience in my past when we had one market, we have a huge presence in that market, and we start analyzing that, and then we start using the same approach in another market, and we didn't receive any kind of result, because this was the first mistakes when we understand that you need to analyze market by market. So answering your question is, you must use this data, but only when you have a lot of data, when operators are shared, or if you create the special game for some exclusive operator for some period of time, if they provide you a lot of data, it will work. But if you're just taking from Romania or the data and trying to implement it in US, no chance.
Thank you, Vladimir. My next question will be related to analytics as well, but I think this question will be quite different for you guys from VCs and you guys from slot studios. So let's talk about KPIs. What KPIs are important for you as VCs, and what KPIs are important for you guys when you think about the development?
Bottom line, how much money are you making? In the end, I don't care about anything else. Are we getting money back on our investment? That's the easy answer. The difficult answer is whatever the operators are asking for in the moment. So we have data from 3,000 operators, 40 different studios. Some of it is, of course, not shown to everybody, but that gives challenges too. We have a little bit too much data, and everybody's starting to go towards the same KPIs. So we're getting a little bit too similar games for the last couple of years.
Yeah, so for us, we usually look at it two different ways. There's a game that we expect to do well early on, but have a very good experience for the player, but we don't expect the player to really go back to it, or at least not that many players, so it will make a lot of money early on. And there's another game that will not be as good early on, but we expect a lot of players to go back to it daily for a long time. So depending on what game we make, it's a different KPIs that we target for those. It's much easier to track the first one, the early stats. So we'll make loads of money, but only in the first month or two, as long as new players keep coming in. The second one is much harder to make and to track as well, because we don't have an easy way to look at that data. We have to look at it ourselves, look at the number of players that are sticking with the game, and combine it with the positioning of the game. If there's any operator with multiple markets that the game is working in, with a roughly similar positioning for a long time, and we can just kind of judge if that game is a long-term one or not.
I don't know, for us it's always KPI is just some kind of metrics that you check in right now, and basically you always trying to understand what exactly you want to change, or for what exactly you're doing something. And for this to add some KPIs, that's okay, because sometimes you want to gain more money and the only one KPI will be how much money you are getting right now from the players and so on. Sometimes you want to try some new mechanics, and you check in the time that actually players could spend inside your game. Does your mechanics work pretty well or not? So it depends. but when we're speaking about our fund, about the KPIs, it's always the money, it's always the speed of the growing, it's always the speed of the new partners and so on.
Thank you. And what depends for you, Vlad?
It depends on the strategy of the company, because in some way, if you invest in dividends company and you expect it only like the dividends on this, of course it's about like money reaching, what they're like returning of investment, etc., etc. When we're speaking about the companies which from the beginning are preparing for further exit of the company, and you know that the full start of this company is preparing for top 3 clients in the industry. It's not about money, it's not even about the revenue. There are a lot of metrics which you need to focus on. If you're preparing the company for capitalization and you're preparing for the future like IPO company, which is like pretty popular now as a kind of strategy in gaming, it's another way of approach, because you know what the metrics are important for IPO, and you are starting focusing on more users, more traction, more data, more market coverage, and so on. If you are speaking about dividends company, you don't care about market coverage, never. You're just caring about like, okay, what the revenue, what the expenses, okay, profit is like, I don't know, margin is 20%, everybody is happy. Okay, why your margin is 18, we've agreed on 20. When we're speaking about capitalization, you don't care about this. Nobody cares about your like revenue, about your margin. Because at the end of the day, if this early stage, the only thing they need to do is just to grow as fast as they can. So it fully depends on the strategy from the beginning. That's why one of the most important questions that everybody needs to have an answer on, what's the strategy? What are you going to build? You're going to build a huge company which will make you billions of dividends, or you're building this small company that you're going to sell in like 5 years?
Thank you, guys. I think we are running out of time, so let's make a round of applause for gentlemen on the stage. Thank you. Thank you for visiting us. And if you have any questions, please catch up with us.